Yo, what is going on, NFL land? In today's mock draft episode, I'm going to draft as if I'm the GM of each and every one of the teams in the first round for the NFL draft 2024. Real quick before we get started, if you guys could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, we're almost at 4,500 subs. All your guys' support has been awesome. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. The Bears are currently on the clock. I think you got to go Caleb Williams. He seems to be the most polished guy. I did like watching both Drake May and Jaden Daniels out on their pro day. They both look really good. Jaden Daniels actually put on a little bit of size. I think he weighed in at around 215. He's 6'4". I mean, if he can get up to that 220, 225 range and still be that athletic, he's going to be a problem. But I think Caleb Williams is the most polished product right now at the quarterback position. He's very talented. I'm going Caleb Williams to the Bears. I just think Jaden Daniels is the pick here, guys. I really, really do. I mean, he's so good. So good. Deep grade 99.2. Unbelievable. He threw for almost 4,000 yards at LSU. I mean, it helps when you have guys like Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors to throw to. He was unbelievable this year. I just think he fits better systematically with the Commanders than he does with any other team. And that's great for the Commanders because they're picking second. So Daniels is going to the Commanders. And this is probably best case scenario for the Patriots. I've been mulling around trading out of this pick because the Patriots need a lot of help, right? Could you trade potentially with a team like the Raiders or another team that needs a quarterback like the Vikings, right? But I think the Patriots are going to stand pat here at number 3. I think they're either going to go big-time wide receiver like Marvin Harrison Jr., but Drake May is a big, tough, strong quarterback. He throws all the routes really well. He has a little bit of accuracy issues, and that comes down to the way his footwork is placed, but I think he can be a Justin Herbert type in the NFL. And if you're the Patriots, you don't know what this crop of quarterbacks is going to be next year, right? Is there going to be a guy better than Drake May? And are you going to be drafting in the top 5 again? Maybe not. I like Drake May here to the Patriots. Number 4, Arizona Cardinals. To me, I know a lot of people think I'm crazy for thinking this, but I like Malik Neighbors more than I like Marvin Harrison Jr. Malik Neighbors is a more tough, in-your-face kind of guy. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a little more reserved. Malik Neighbors reminds me more of Randy Moss than Marvin Harrison Jr. is more like his dad. He's kind of quiet, but he's still super elite. But I want that tough, gritty guy in your face. But Kyler Murray is a loud guy. He likes to be heard. So you could kind of juxtaposition that a little bit and go with Marvin Harrison Jr. But I just think Malik Neighbors is the better all-around weapon. He's a little more clean catcher of the football. I watched a lot of Marvin Harrison's tape, and he kind of juggles the ball a little bit. He's able to re-catch the ball. But in college, they might be catches. In the pros, those guys are tighter on you, and those balls are probably going to be incompletions. I'm going Malik Neighbors to the Cardinals. All right, this is where we're going to do our first trade, guys. The Chargers are trading with the Vikings. Just for this little scenario, I'm just doing 11 and 23. There's probably going to be a bunch of later picks and maybe a next year pick thrown in. But for this kind of exercise we're doing, I'm forcing this trade. The Vikings are giving up 11 and 23 to move up to 5. And now the Vikings are on the board. And to me, they're going quarterback. They're not trading up for another position. And I think they like J.J. McCarthy enough to trade up to 5 to get a quarterback. In my opinion, he's better than Bo Nix. Michael Penix Jr. has actually surprised me a lot. He throws the deep ball really well. He might be a sneaky kind of Lamar Jackson-y type of guy that falls to the late first round, early second round, and ends up being a really good quarterback. But I think they're going to roll the dice with J.J. McCarthy because he's super young, 6'3", 202. He's only 21 years of age, and the dude is he's good. And with Addison and Jefferson, I mean, bringing a guy in like McCarthy, I like that pick there. Then the Giants, Marvin Harrison Jr. falls in their lap. This is a no-brainer to me. The Giants need weapons. Daniel Jones is not as bad as a quarterback as people think, and their offensive line improved a little bit, so get him some weapons. Marvin Harrison Jr. goes number 6 to the New York Giants. This might be the easiest pick in the draft. If you're betting on a team to take a player, Joe Alt to the Titans makes so much sense. Will Levis got his ass kicked all season last year. They need offensive line help more than anything. I love this. The Falcons are up at number 8. They're going edge defender. Which one are you picking? Are you going Laiatu Latu, Dallas Turner, or Jared Verse? Man, I've been watching a lot of tape on Dallas Turner, and he really impresses me. At number 8, you kind of got to mitigate some risk, and the injury concerns of Laiatu Latu take him out of the top 10, in my opinion. He had some neck injuries that led him to retire for a little while. He's back, and he looks healthy, so I think in the 15 to 25 range is a little bit less risky than taking him at 8. That's why I'm going Dallas Turner, the edge defender from Alabama. The dude's a monster. 81 grade this year, 11 sacks, 33 QB hurries, 647 snaps, and big games towards the end of the season. He didn't show up against Michigan, but he had that big game against Georgia. Great games against Texas A&M, a really good offense. I like Dallas Turner to the Falcons. You can't go wrong there. Then the Bears are on the board. With this pick, do you bring in an elite talent like Rome Odunze, or do you bring in one of these great defensive linemen? So when I broke down the Bears' defense, interior defensive line and edge definitely need some help, man. Drazon Newton, I like him, but he's just a little undersized, 6'2", 295. I don't love that. The Bears could go Rome Odunze here, but I think there's a lot of depth in the wide receiver position in this draft. So you can get an elite talent in the second and third round. A guy like Byron Murphy, the second, is not going to be around that late in the draft. 91 grade last year, 6 sacks, 36 hurries. Pass rush win rate amongst the top of the class, almost 20%. He's going to the Bears for me. Address some offensive positions later in the draft. Go with Byron Murphy the second here, and you won't regret it. Okay, now we're with the Jets. Do they go wide receiver, Rome Odunze, or do they go Brock Bowers, tight end? I just think Rome Odunze has fell too far in this draft. If it wasn't for Harrison and Neighbors, this guy would be the number 1 wide receiver off the board in like the last, 20 drafts probably. I'm just not letting this type of receiver get away. And to learn from Aaron Rodgers at this level, it's a no-brainer. The Chargers are on the board right now at 11. Do we go offensive line, or do we bring in a generational talent at tight end like Brock Bowers? As much as I want to bring in offensive line, I think we can get a solid offensive lineman, especially with all these corners left on the board at 23. So I like taking Brock Bowers at 11. The Chargers have no weapons now. They have no wide receivers. That offense has been completely decimated. Brock Bowers is going to the Chargers at 11. And this is great for the Broncos because the Broncos need a quarterback, and having Bo Nix fall to them at 12 is a no-brainer. I like the way Bo Nix fits in with Sean Payton. Drew Brees was a very accurate passer, and so is Bo Nix. Bo Nix broke the record for completion percentage this year in college football, 77.3%. Adjusted completion percentage, 85%. This dude's a stud. He's going to the Broncos. The Raiders are on the board at 13, and they need help pretty much in every position on that entire football team. But I want to bring in a solid offensive lineman, Fuaga from Oregon State. He's tough. He's nasty. He fits in that Raiders football mentality like a Max Crosby. He's just as ferocious, but on the offensive side of the football. I like Fuaga to go to the Raiders. At number 14, we have the Saints, and another tackle is going off the board. This time it's Fashanu from Penn State. This guy has left tackle written all over him. He can also play right tackle. I think in the right system, he could be an elite tackle at the NFL level. The Saints need to protect Derek Carr. He's not very elusive in the pocket. Bring in Fashanu to protect him. All right, the Colts, I'm going best cornerback on the board. It's between Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. For the Colts, I'm bringing in Cooper DeJean. Then up next on the clock is the Seattle Seahawks, man. They need a lot of interior offensive line help. This is a little bit of a stretch pick, but I think this fits the needs for the Seahawks. They need a center. They don't even have like a center on their roster right now that could play in the NFL. Jackson Powers Johnson is going to Seattle. The Jacksonville Jaguars need help at the cornerback position. Quinyon Mitchell falling to them at 17 is an absolute no-brainer for the Jaguars. He's a top 10 talent. He's very, very good. He's big, he's strong, he's tough, he's nasty. The Jaguars are going to love him on the outside. I'm going Quinyon Mitchell, number 17 to the Jaguars. Up next, the Bengals. I'm going best tackle available. Troy Fontenot is that guy. He can play inside and outside. The Bengals need to protect Joe Burrow. They've done a horrible job protecting him his whole career. Bring in the best offensive lineman that's left on the board. That's Troy Fontenot from Washington. On the clock is the Rams. Aaron Donald is gone, so I'm bringing in the best interior defensive lineman to replace Aaron Donald. Jerzon Newton slide ends at pick 19. He's going to the Rams. The Rams need to readdress that interior defensive line position, and Jerzon Newton is officially an LA Ram. All right, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the clock. They have Justin Fields and Russell Wilson now at the quarterback position. They can go tackle, center, or corner. I'm bringing in a cornerback, the best cornerback left on the board. In my opinion, it's between Terrion Arnold and Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins just has such incredible speed, man. 6'2", 185. I really, really like Nate Wiggins' game. If he puts on a little bit of size, he's one of the fastest corners in this draft. I love bringing Nate Wiggins to the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right, on the clock is the Miami Dolphins. They need help everywhere. It says they only need help at tight end, O-line, and interior defensive lineman. I disagree with that. I think the Dolphins need help everywhere. For the Dolphins, I'm bringing in the best offensive lineman left on the board, and that's J.C. Latham, the tackle from Alabama. He can play right tackle. He can swing into guard. I like J.C. going to the Dolphins to protect Tua. Now, the Birds are on the clock, and people are going to crush me for this, but I don't give a shit. Latu is coming to the Philadelphia Eagles. And you want to know why? Hassan Reddick got his ticket to the Jets. He's gone. Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham might not be here after next year. And in Vic Fangio's 3-4 defense, Latu can drop into coverage. He can blitz from the outside. Latu is officially a Philadelphia Eagle, and I love this pick. Boy! On the board at 23, we have the Chargers with their second first-round pick. I want to bring in a weapon for Herbert because he needs some wide receivers. They let a big outside wide receiver go in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, so we need an outside receiver. Brian Thomas Jr. is that outside receiver. He crushed it this year, man. Look at all these touchdowns. 17 touchdowns. Are you kidding me, guys? Him and Justin Herbert are going to be a great 1-2 punch for years to come. I love Brian Thomas Jr. to the Chargers. The Cowboys are on the clock. This has been a pick that I've made for the Cowboys for pretty much every mock draft that I've done. Amarius Mims is going to the Cowboys. They need a lot of offensive line help. You can put him anywhere. Tackle, guard, Mims to the Cowboys. All right, the Packers are up at 25, and this is great. I'm bringing in the best corner left on the board. Terrion Arnold, the cornerback from Alabama, is going to the Packers. He's probably going to be a day one starter there. All right, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are picking at 26. They need some help on the edge, and Jarrett Verse is that dude. He slid all the way down to 26, 11 sacks last year, played almost 600 snaps, 84 grade. This dude is a monster. He's a top 15 talent. To fall to the Buccaneers at 26 is a no-brainer. Jarrett Verse goes to the Buccaneers. All right, now the Cardinals are on the clock again. They went wide receiver earlier in the draft. We can go a lot of places. They need some help on the offensive line at the guard position, at the center position. Graham Barton is big and strong, 6'5", 314. It says Barton should switch from tackle to the interior line positions, likely center in the NFL. They need a center. Graham Barton is big, he's strong, he's tough, he's nasty. He's only 22 years old, 6'5", 314. He's one of the best lineman left on the board to play center for the Cardinals. I love this. He's big and tough and strong. He can play tackle. He can play center. He can play guard. The versatility is what is getting him drafted in the first round. Graham Barton is going to the Cardinals. The Buffalo Bills are on the clock at pick 28. They can go D-back. Kool-Aid McKinstry is still on the clock here. I like safety Tyler Nubin, but to me, I want to pick the best linebacker in the draft. They need some help on the defense. A lot of injuries on that defense last year. You could go receiver like Adonai Mitchell or Ladd McConkey, but I think Peyton Wilson is just too good of a talent to pass up at 28. Peyton Wilson is going to be a Buffalo Bill. And lucky for the Lions, Kool-Aid McKinstry is still available at cornerback. I'm not going to think about this for more than 5 seconds. Kool-Aid, look at his numbers. 88 grade this year. He played almost 900 snaps. The dude is a monster. Fallen to the Lions at pick 29. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a Detroit Lion. All right, guys, at pick number 30, we have the Ravens on the clock. I was thinking about going wide receiver, but this corner has got my eye. I've been watching him on tape. They need help at the cornerback position, and TJ Tampa is really good. He was excellent in 2022. He regressed a little bit, but he played 100 more snaps. But the thing that I like in this overall grade is what it is. But the passer rating against him went from 130 his rookie year in college, 70 in 2022 to 54.8. That's a ton of improvement. Overall grade is a little fishy, but I love his size. 6'2", 200 pounds. He's big. He's tough. He's physical. I love TJ Tampa going to the Ravens. On the clock, we have pick 31 for the San Francisco 49ers. I like cornerback here, but I also like O-line. Tyler Guyton is probably the best tackle left on the board here. Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. He's really solid player. He's not a top 10, top 5 type of pick, but at pick 31, Tyler Guyton makes a lot of sense to help protect Brock Purdy. All right, and the last pick of the draft, I'm bringing in one of my favorite players in the draft. So it was between Adonai Mitchell and Ladd McConkey, but I just think putting Ladd in the slot with Patrick Mahomes and Rice and Kelsey, I love Ladd's ability to run routes, and he's got some of the best hands I've ever seen. He's probably a top 10 route runner the day he gets into the NFL. Ladd McConkey is going to the Chiefs at pick 32. All right, everyone, here is my 2024 mock draft. I think it's 4.0. I'm doing so many of these mock drafts, I can't even keep track anymore. But top 10 went Caleb Williams, Daniels, Drake May to the Patriots, Neighbors, McCarthy, Harrison, Alt, Turner to the Falcons, Byron Murphy to Chicago, and rounding out the top 10, Roman Dunzier goes to the Jets. Check it out. There's all my picks. The Bird Gang is getting Liatu Latu. The dude's going to be an absolute monster for the Birds. All right, guys, I hope you like my NFL mock draft. We're getting closer and closer to the draft. It's April now, only a few weeks away. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace.